And welcome to Bliss In Me's Sacred Spaces, where we travel to sacred destinations and sites around the world to explore the cultures of the past. This segment, we're going to actually visit the Mayan culture, and we're also going to explore what the Mayans meant with the winter solstice of December 21st, 2012, and their predictions. We survived it, but let's understand a little bit more about what they actually meant and what those prophecies were. They predicted that there would be a shift. And people often think that that means a shift physically in this world, but we're talking about a shift spiritually, a shift in consciousness. And we're going to actually visit the Mayan Riviera and go to sites such as Coba and Tulum and have a chance to spend some time in the ruins to actually see these amazing civilizations that the Mayans built. Understand their spiritual practices, their sense of community, their sense of commerce, and their amazing capability to transcend the physical world through their spiritual practices. So, let's go. Just getting into the beautiful city of Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Now it's time to go out and get into a little trouble in this amazing weather and see what we can learn about the Mayan Riviera. Today we are in Coba, Mexico, visiting the Mayan ruins in the town of Coba. Our guide today is Marcelino. Hola, Marcelino.
Hola. Welcome to Coba, Mexico. This place is much older than other places like Tulum, Chichen Itza. Coba was established by the Mayan cultures in the pre-classic period about 200 years before Christ. Yes, the second most important period of Coba was the classic 3 to 600 AD. During this time, the population of Coba was near 55,000 people. We talk about farmers, fishermen, stone workers, soldiers, astronomers, architects, and governments. This place, this ancient city of Coba, collapsed in the post-classic period around 9 to 1200 AD because the land became infertile or Coba suffered a long drought. They dispersed into other places, but other places like Tulum was discovered by the Spanish conquistador in 1518 after Christ. And then some of the Mayans were killed and some of was subjected into Catholic. No one was living in Coba, completely abandoned this place. Yes, and the Spaniards, they never discovered this place. They never discovered Coba. Yes. Questions?
Tell me a little bit more about the sacred practices. I mean, this is a beautiful land, and as you said, the Spaniards never found this place. It was too far, it was too remote, they could never find it. What about the spiritual practices that took place in a place like Coba? What was that like?
For example, in front of the temples, like that one, they did ceremonies, dances, or different events according to the calendars. Not human sacrifice, but there were 27 major cultures in Mesoamerica. Along with the Mayans, we talk about Aztecs, Totonacas, Chichimecas, Purépechas, Toltecs, etc. The Aztecs and Toltecs did human sacrifice from the top of the pyramids. They removed the heart or cut the head of the victim and throw the body down the steps. And the ancient Mayans, they did self-sacrifices or human sacrifice when the Toltecs influenced the Mayans.
So, Marcelino, are any of the practices of the ancient Mayan culture still practiced today?
Yes, we still do ancient Maya ceremonies. For example, we do the Chak ceremony, and we offer adoration in honor of the rain gods to receive good rain and good harvest. Yes.
Now we journey over to the stelae to actually see the writings of the Mayans. Maya stelae are monuments that were fashioned by the Mayan civilization that were either tall, sculpted shafts or smaller altars, but they were essentially banners that chronicle the dynasty and the calendar of the civilization. Now we're at one of the stelas, and this is a stela that has the Mayan calendar that speaks to the December 2012 predictions. Amazing. You can't really see any of the carvings any longer unless you look really close, but most of them have eroded. But this was created over 1,500 years ago, most likely. Now let's go visit Marcelino so that we can understand exactly what the Mayan ball courts were all about. Now I also understand that there were many ball courts here in the ruins, and they actually played ball as a part of their recreation, but there was also sacrifice involved with that as well.
Exactly.
Do you know what led to that?
In most Mesoamerica culture, the ball game was played. In the Mayan world, make them 1,700 bokors have been found. The ball game was not a spectator sport. Notice there is a very little room for an audience. It was a sacred ceremony dedicated to the gods. In Coba, we have evidences. Each team had 3 players, 3 and 3, 6 in total. In Coba, the players, they could only touch the ball with their elbows, hips, and knees. The first team that passed through the ball in the hoopstone, I will show you the ball game, is game over or the winners. Yes, the players offered their blood and bodies in sacrifice.
Wow.
They believed that their blood was the most precious gift they could offer.
So they would run down this center way, and then they would try to get
this place, the players, they run or they ran this section, this wall you can see, and also there. I mentioned the first team that passed through the ball in the hoopstone there or here is game over or the winners. But I mentioned also the ancient players, they did self or human sacrifice. We are not sure whether it was the winners or the loser that was sacrificed. We do know the game was played using elbows, hips, and knees.
And that's where the human sacrifice would take place, in these 2 places? Now we come to the centerpiece of Coba, and this is Nohok Mule, which also means big mountain, that Marcelino shared with us earlier. This is an unbelievable structure. It's 180 feet high. It's actually taller than the famous El Castillo in Chichen Itza. Nohok Mule can actually be climbed. Many of the pyramids in the Yucatan Peninsula have been roped off because people have actually fallen to their death. But I am going to try to make my way to the top, even though I am afraid of heights, so that I can see these amazing vistas and actually walk the same steps that the Mayans walked. Now Marcelino takes us underneath the pyramids to the actual tombs where the kings and rulers of this society are buried. And we walk down even more corridors to tombs underneath pyramids in long labyrinths as we snake our way from building to building, structure to structure, pyramid to pyramid. Within these structures, these underground tunnels are very dangerous. The ground is uncertain, there's a lot of rocks, and the ceiling is very low. Coba is amazing, and the entire Yucatan Peninsula is amazing in that only 1% of Coba is actually restored. 99% of all the palaces, temples, ball courts, towers, and roads are actually under jungle. And who knows if we'll ever see that. The Mayans, like many other cultures, from the Hopi Indian to predictions in the Tao Te Ching, the I Ching, the Sibyl, the Oracle at Delphi, and even Nostradamus speak to this December 21st, 2012 event. And the Mayans specifically speak to this as an end of an age, an end of a period that they call a katun. And they believe that this new age, this dawning of the fifth sun, the age of Aquarius, will be a time of great transition into another world, a shift in consciousness, a shift that occurs that will hopefully trigger a renewed awakening in our spirituality and a moving away from our ego and fear mechanisms, and that will hopefully bring us to a greater place of peace. So do we believe that there will be anything that changes in the new cycle? What kinds of things do you think will change in the new cycle? This is not the end of the world, but what do you think we might experience?
No, it's just the end of the cycle. It's just the end of the calendar, because the calendar was cyclic. The Mayans, they never predict the end of the world. Or many people said alignment of planets, but it's not an alignment of planets. It's just the end of the cycle.